Oi, come here, you shit!
A lot of roleplay games are rather unfortunately fixated upon combat. And I think they give a lot of players the idea that they're supposed to be fighting their way through every situation because, well, presumably combat happens an awful lot of the time because just look at the rulebook. You look through the pages and perhaps half the pages or more are given over to the one topic of combat. And you see every imaginable kind of weapon listed and all sorts of skills to do with weapons and armor and fighting and going up levels and getting better and doing feats and whatever it is. Just loads and loads of combat related stuff. And you think, well, it's interesting because we seem to be missing a really big part of action. Think of films. Now, there are action sequences in films. Are they all fights? I put it to you that actually an awful lot of action sequences in films are not fights. They are something else. They are something that is almost completely ignored by almost every single role-play system out there. Chases. Yeah, think of action film. You've got fights and you've got chases, haven't you? So where's the chapter on chasing? Where are the chapters on chasing? Why haven't characters got several chasing related skills? Well, they don't seem to. In fact, a lot of role-play game systems simply give a character a speed at which he moves, and that's it. So if I go at 30 feet around and he goes at 30 feet around, I will never catch him. We just move 30 feet, well, whatever distance we start apart, we will remain that distance apart forever as we run, unless the games master just comes up with some improvised reason that this might change. But I put it to you that in fact, this is a major gap in role-play rules. Why are there not rules for chasing? I would suggest that you come up with three sets of rules for chasing. I'm going to call them sprinting, chasing, and pursuing. And I think I'm not going to talk about exactly what dice you have to roll or whatever, because every role-play game is different. The skill system will be different. The dice you use will be different. You come up with whatever suits you. But I think you need rules for these three things. First, sprinting. Sprinting is a simple single die roll that gives you a yes/no result. So, for instance, a guy tries to run out of the room and slam the door behind him, but I see that he's going to try to do that, so I rush to the door first and slam it shut, keeping him in the room with us. Do I get to the door in time, or does he beat me to it? Clumph. One die roll. No, I didn't make it. Drat, he's gone. So it's a simple yes/no result for an action that can be completed this round. That's sprinting. You should be able to come up with something for that, surely. At the other end is pursuit. That's the long chase where you're not going to come up with what exactly is happening every single round. Because you're chasing for miles and miles and miles. Pursuit might be something that happens over days or weeks across great wilderness terrain. You've got to try to track the guy down and catch up with him. How many marathons can you run? How lightly encumbered are you? How much food have you got? What's your endurance like? Pursuit. Chasing someone over a very long distance. You need to come up with rules for that. And in between is the sort of thing which is in most films, the chase sequence, where you're within sight of the person you're chasing most of the time and things happen. So the man being chased might be deliberately knocking over all sorts of obstacles behind him in the hope that they get in the way of his pursuers. And the pursuers might be looking for an alternative route. Or maybe if I jump over that roof, run along that guttering and down onto that roof and slide down into that, oh no, that didn't work, and so forth. Action-packed chasing. And you need rules within this so that you know each round whether you're gaining or losing ground. And you keep reasonable track of the distance between you. So there you go. I'm not going to suggest, as I say, specific rules because I think that's entirely system specific and you should come up with whatever suits your taste. But please, make your roleplay games a little bit more interesting by coming up with chasing rules. And a great thing about chasing rules is that they will make it possible for villains to get away rather than always fight. It always happens, doesn't it? The big villain, as soon as you actually get him into a fight, he either gets away because, and it seems so contrived, oh, he was always going to get away. The GM said just didn't want him killed, so he just went through a trapdoor and disappeared and we couldn't get him. It was so unfair. Or, more likely, you just keep fighting him until he dies, in which case that interesting character who might have reappeared many times doesn't get to. And the achievement that the players might feel when they do actually finally chase down the guy that they were after all this time and finally defeat him will be so much greater if you have rules for chases, which means that they are aware, because the GM is not in perfect control of the dice, they are aware that maybe he'll get away and maybe he won't. It's not predetermined by the GM. The dice are going to decide. That's far more exciting, isn't it?